Hey everybody, this is Steve Kodad. Hope you're all doing really well tonight. We probably will have a few people that will be trying to be admitted in the next minute or so, but I'm going to go ahead and get started. Your time is very valuable. I understand that totally. And we're going to kick off the second 20 minutes of Feng Shui with Steve, yours truly. And if you do me the favor and mute your audio, I'd appreciate it. And keep your eye out for the next session and register when you see it. The next session will be March the 1st, again, a Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So again, thank you very much for showing up. And let's go ahead and get started, okay? This is me, and I am a national real estate presenter for state associations and major franchises. I'm a red ribbon Feng Shui master, which is the highest level in the International Feng Shui Guild, our governing board, and I'm the author of a few books. And so that's it for about me. So anyway, if you did show up on the last one, our first one, I made a big thing about this to you that Feng Shui is really has a lot to do with it, sort of a domino effect. So we're going to get back into that situation right now. Because again, one thing sort of leads to another in Feng Shui. And we're going to be taking care of the security part of it tonight. The last time we met 2 weeks ago, we talked about comfort. And I am going to review that a little bit tonight. But again, think of Feng Shui as a domino effect. If I take care of security, it then creates comfort for you, your loved ones, your visitors. And then if it's comfortable, everything else is then possible. So tonight is security, but we're talking about security on a subconscious level. I'm not talking about having some kind of watchdog or a deadbolt or any of those kind of things. Those are all fine. I'm talking about how you feel on a subconscious level. And a lot of us at one time or another have walked into an environment and didn't quite feel right. That's what I'm talking about. So that environment gave off the wrong impressions to us on a subconscious level. And when that happens, nothing good really works for you. All right, so I defined comfort for you last time as free from stress or tension. Let me define security for you right now. It's freedom from danger, safety, freedom from fear or anxiety. So you can understand if we don't have this coming across to us, nothing good is going to happen. You're not going to be able to be comfortable in that setting. You're not going to be able to read that fantastic book real well. You're not going to be really able to entertain your guests as well as you'd like to, and so forth. So we talked about this particular concept, and I have to go over it again because it is so, so important about how you and I are wired to make sure that we feel very comfortable in our setting. So if you remember, we called it the classic armchair. And the classic armchair had to do with what happened thousands of years ago. But we take it forward, we use it everywhere in Feng Shui. We use it where your favorite sitting area is going to be in front of the TV. We have it in front where your bed is going to be. So it's extremely important that you get this concept down. So we're always looking for sort of the mountain, the symbolic mountain behind us, the security behind us. Real pivotal, real pivotal. So thousands of years ago, these folks looked for places like this that would give me this kind of security. They knew this is what they needed to be able to be successful in their lives. So they looked for a mountain like you see to the left, and they wanted to have on the sides some trees and mountains that also protect their flanks. Those are the armrests. And then they also wanted to be able to see a very long distance away. Thousands of years ago, that made a lot of sense because they didn't know when somebody was coming their way, whether they were a friend or not. And even now, you and I are wired this way when we go into a restaurant, we go into a new place. We want to sit in a place that we feel comfortable in. So again, this concept's used both inside and outside in any Feng Shui school or any Feng Shui book you pick up. This is the mountain. In Florida, where I am at, this is representing the support of my back. So using a wall, a fence, or just landscaping is going to be sufficient to give me that extra feeling I'm protected in my environment. But it also helps with privacy too. Very important concept, very. And of course, this idea we talked about again was about where the bed sets up. If you have to put it up against a window, it's not good. Sometimes you have no choices, but we try to stay away from that. We want it up against a solid wall. And this is about as bad as it can possibly get. The bed is up against a window. So there's an awful lot of really wrong stuff in that particular picture Feng Shui wise. This is the perfect setup, for example, for your bed. We have it up against a solid wall. You'll feel so much better if you are protected that way. But at the same time, you want to have protection on the left and the right to some degree, some equality also, and be able to see the entrance. You want to be able to see who might be entering into your bedroom. We went over this before and after, and I'm going to go over this one more time, and then we're going to talk about where the red arrows are. Okay? So if you remember, if you were with me last time, this is the front door. So the chair that's right inside the front door is not a very secure, in our mind, area to sit. There's no way you'd feel comfortable sitting there and reading a book for a long period of time. So we're going to move that chair. But you can see over here at the desk, we have this person's back is to the whole thing that's going on behind them. That is not going to help with productivity or security either. And then finally, this couch is up against windows. So again, it's getting bombarded by an awful lot of excessive energy, and it's also feeling unprotected. So the after, if you were with me last time, looked like this. So the couch was up against the solid wall, the mountain. You could see the door perfectly. These chairs were moved to a 45-degree angle at the windows. And then finally, up here, we put the chair on the other side of the desk, therefore allowing them to have more of a command of the environment and feeling much more safe, secure, and therefore more productive. So we're going to talk about one of the sections that, again, I haven't talked about, which was this. So tonight, we're talking about the idea of creating more security in a situation so that we can develop the comfort. We can develop the comfort for you and your loved ones. So you notice there's a plant put there, which if you want to consider it as an obstacle between that corner, which is a sharp corner, and everything else is going on in the room. Okay. So as an example, here's the before of a situation. You can see a sharp corner right there coming off of that. And let's say you have your favorite chair right here. You're sitting in that chair with your back to that corner watching TV. Now, if you're only there for a few minutes, that's one thing. But if you're there for hours, okay, it's not a good idea. So what we do is we put an obstacle between that corner and your favorite chair or your bed or whatever, okay? So that takes care of what we refer to as a poison arrow. So you can see in this particular picture off of that column, you're sitting on the left-hand side of that couch. for a consistent amount of time, you might have a problem. You're not going to feel as good or as secure or as safe or as comfortable as you'd like to be. And if that's where you sit all the time, it's really not very good for you. In Feng Shui, poison arrows can actually even affect your health. So if you ever hire a Feng Shui consultant, they're going to be checking out things like this lady is doing. She's checking out this corner and pointing it out to this couple that this could be affecting you in a negative way. So you might want to consider moving the couch that you're sitting in or doing something like using an obstacle, like maybe putting a plant there. Now, often when I'm called into an evaluation, folks, the master bedroom is so important. In our school, we talk a lot about getting a great night's sleep so that our folks can stay healthy and productive and successful throughout their life. So, we're not only talking about the master bedroom, but we're talking about your children also. So if you look at this picture, there's one very, very prominent poison arrow. It's right here. And if you notice that corner is pointing to where the person might be laying their head during the night. And if you think about it, this person is going to be laying there possibly for 7 to 8, maybe more hours. And so it not only is going to wreak havoc to their sleep, but also to their possibly to their health too. One of the things that our school does all the time is we try to back up things with research and studies. We're probably the only school that does this. Maybe it's because of my background as a longtime mathematics teacher in high school for almost 15 years. I really need to back things up, and I think probably most of you like to have things backed up for you. This particular study that was done by this university in Japan compared rounded corners to ones that were 45 and 90 degrees with sharp corners. And they came off to our subconscious as much larger, and these right or acute angles really elicited very larger negative feelings. Those are the poison arrows. So by taking those away as much as we can, because we have to sort of pick our battles sometimes. Let's face it, every environment that you are living in or you go to an office has these things. Can you handle them all? No, not really. But you handle the ones that are the most prominent, the ones that are going to affect you for a long period of time where you're sitting or sleeping. So a lot of columns that you find out inside of houses look like this. There are sharp corners often. So those need to be taken care of. Here's another example. Let's say you're sitting in that chair and again reading a book or whatever you're doing. But here's a poison arrow. So you're going to have to do something about it if you really want to worry about your health, worry about your comfort. So moving that piece of furniture that you're sitting in is one thing, or moving that piece of furniture that's got the sharp angle. But also what we do in Feng Shui is we soften that corner if we have to. So you can use fabric or possibly a dripping plant over top of that. Here's a very normal situation, ladies and gentlemen, where you see columns like that, and they're beautiful. They're beautiful. I agree with you, but there's a lot of poison arrows in here that could really affect this person, for example. So if you look at this, we might have to put an obstacle there between the corner and the person that is sitting there. And that would help alleviate some of the stress. You can see it here again. Again, the columns are beautiful, totally beautiful. But we probably would have to use something in between them and where the people are sitting to create a more comfortable environment for our visitors, for our neighbors, for our loved ones. So a lot of builders are going more and more to the shaved off corners. They might not know why they're doing it. They just know that they're clientele really like it. They like the way it looks, but it also is going to help them be a lot happier too. Now, if you have somebody in your car and you're a real estate agent and you're possibly showing this, say, this house right here, and that person is really into feng shui, they're going to walk out of the door, front door, and look around at the roof lines. Yep, look at the roof lines. And they might, for example, see this roof line that is pointing right at the house that they're thinking about purchasing. So one of the things that can sometimes be a problem is that it's pointing at the front door of the house that we're looking at, or it could be pointing at the bedroom window that where we might be trying to get a good night's sleep. So roof lines can be also a problem. You find these poison arrows all over the place. Again, you can't eliminate them all. It's just not possible, but you work on the ones that are the most problem for you. Here's an example for you. You can see that roof line points right into this window. So again, if your bed is right there, that could be a problem for you. And so what you might want to do on that side of the window is to probably block it to some degree so you don't get that effect. Now we run into a lot of houses like this around the country. Again, I've had the great opportunity of being able to present this material all over the place, from Las Vegas to Boston to a lot of other places. And one of the things that I see is a lot of these 50, 60 ranches that are not very welcoming. Excuse me. So we have to sort of soften, take away the sharp edges as much as we can, make it more welcoming. So if you look on the left-hand side of this picture, I'm going to put a plant, a hanging plant right there. And continue with that idea. Anytime you put a tree or a bush that is rounded, it also creates more of a comforting feeling. It's a softer feeling. And then again, taking care of straight lines like this, or this corner over here on the right, would just create a more softening effect to a house that you're working for. So we take care of these poison arrows inside and outside. It just creates a better environment for somebody pulling up to it. Or if they live there, they feel a lot more positive about the place too. So you can look, again, these are beautiful, but if I was trying to help sell this house, I would worry about the columns to some degree and try to take care of the situation. So these sharp corners create that slight negative feeling that I'd like to take away. I don't ever want a potential buyer when I'm working with a realtor to feel any kind of negativity. So we would use obstacles, probably in this case, probably rounded pots with flowers in them. Look at this situation. Again, you've probably seen many houses that look like this. And again, we have those columns with sharp corners coming off of it. So there are a lot of ones, sharp corners here. So again, I would probably want to take care of these to create not only a positive feeling for everybody that visits me, but also myself. So again, using obstacles can be very helpful. And then finally with this picture, I'm going to put this again in here. Again, it softens the environment. It creates a very positive placement of a plant. So here's a perfect example of doing it well, okay? Again, in Feng Shui, we advocate rounded pots and not pots that have edges to them. So these pots are actually being used as obstacles to take away the sharp corners and create a more welcoming effect for anybody coming up to the front door. But you can have these things in your foyer also. I hope you can see them here right now. So walking in here, there are some things that I would probably want to take away. I'd probably take away the item behind the door, but I'm mostly worried about this. There's that sharp edge, that poison arrow, that if you want to say it, it's welcoming the person coming in the door and not welcoming them very nicely, you might say. And then there are poison arrows in so many ways. And if you ever decide you want to maybe train with my partner and myself, my partner's Lisa Alban, this is another place that can create problems for you when you have a lot of these things going on up on the ceiling. So there's a way to do it. There's a cure to taking care of it without, of course, taking down these beings. Again, they're attractive. But I can tell you a story where I helped a realtor sell her house because one of the rooms downstairs where she had her office had these large beams. So we handled the situation by trying to make them sort of disappear by using paint. And then here's probably as worst example as I can probably give you. I don't know exactly where I found this one, but boy, look at all that going on. A lot of poison arrows, a lot of insecurity for people. So can you imagine sitting in that chair and really feeling comfortable? You might enjoy the fire, but boy, look what's above you. So to me, this is really terror. And I probably wouldn't advocate somebody purchasing a home that had this type of a ceiling. So if you're interested in any kind of training, here is my email. I'd love to send you stuff if you're interested in either one of our designations, which are down at the bottom. We actually turn out new consultants all over the country and also have a real estate certification on the right hand side. So the next time, hopefully you'll join me once again. I made these things only 20 minutes because I felt like, well, most people can afford that amount of time. It's not a big investment. The next time we meet, which is again on March the 1st, we're going to talk about how to attract chi, or energy, and at the same time, human attention to our home. I always think of it that if we do one, we do the other. And that really does work real well. We're very, very much into the idea of using practical terminology. So we have to attract chi into our home, into our office, into our workplace on a consistent basis. If we're not doing that, we really don't have the best environment for us to be our best. So again, it's on March 1st, 7:30 p.m., and I hope you'll take a good look for it. And I want to tell you again, thank you very much for joining me. And I hope you'll again show up on the first Wednesday every month. And I'm going to open it up to questions right now for a few minutes. And let's see if anybody has a question for me. You can go ahead and open up your audio and ask me some questions, and I'll be glad to answer them for the next 10 minutes if that is of interest to you. Anybody? Anybody have a question? So we're all bashful tonight, huh? Okay. Well, that's fine. Okay. Well, if you don't have any questions for me, I'm going to then just go ahead and say good night to you. And again, thank you for joining me. And I hope you enjoyed that idea. Believe me, it's a domino effect. We have to take care of the security on a subconscious level so a person is going to be really, really comfortable. Let me see here. Okay. You're welcome, Jay. Thank you, Francis. Okay, well, you all have a great evening. And thank you again for showing up. And you take care of yourself, okay?
Thank you. Have a good night.
You too now. You all be good. Bye-bye.